We are recording this meeting as we have done previously. It will be up on the Parish Council website later. So thank you for joining, and hopefully it's going to be a very short meeting because we've had the informal meeting last week on Thursday, and we've done this, to reiterate, we're doing this because under the law we cannot make decisions virtually now. So we've had an informal meeting to guide us this evening, and the basic approach is to vote through what we agreed last Thursday to recommend to Parish Council without any further discussion, ideally. So I hope everyone can hear us. We're having a few technical problems at this end in the room, but we're going to crack on if that's okay. So first of all, we're just going to take apologies for absence. Are there any?
Well, I suppose certain people have given apologies, but as the agreement was that there was only going to be 5 parish councillors here, and there are 5, I think it would be reasonable to accept the others as apologies. I've certainly had apologies from Vince Holloway, Maurice Johns, Wendy Ryder and Mike Barnett, but as the other people are obviously appreciate the other councillors that it is effectively you 5, I think that would be reasonable.
Yeah. Okay, so we take all the others as apologies, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on then, if that's okay, to the next item, which is declarations of interest and items on the agenda. And I'm going to give a general declaration about my involvement on railway matters. So I will not be voting on anything controversial about railway things. On to item 3, to agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of May. We discussed it on Thursday last week, and I think we all agreed they were okay.
Yes.
Happy with that? Yeah.
Sorry, Mark, can I suggest that you agree the meeting minutes for Thursday at this meeting? Otherwise, we're going to be at the July meeting.
Okay, that's, yeah. So to be clear, then we've formally agreed the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of May, and we're agreeing our formal notes of the meeting last Thursday.
Okay.
Agreed. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Now we've got a couple of open sessions, and I think a member of the public did indicate a wish to speak this evening. We don't really want to be in this room any longer than we need to be, and I'd love to crack on without having any further conversations this evening more than we have to. So if we're happy to do so, I'd like to move on.
Well, Mark, Glenn Hall asked to speak, didn't he?
He did.
I did send you an email. He's the only person, actually.
Right, okay. Well, Glenn, hello, good evening, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Unfortunately, I think the main people that my questions and some of the points I was going to raise aren't actually in the meeting, and that's Councillors the Roydens and Councillor Ryder in regards to their putting Brickhill First website, and what I can only say is an appalling document. Well, sorry, both an appalling document and an appalling statement on their website. For those of you who haven't seen it, it starts with East West Rail supported by the government. It's categorically stated that Route E, the general route corridors to the north, has been chosen, and this is one of the kickers. Despite this, Brickhill Parish Council has inexplicably, I'll come on to spelling and grammar in a moment, opted to support the northern villages in a I think they're trying to say Canute, but again, the grammar and spelling is appalling on their website, approach of trying to turn back time and oppose a whole wide route rather than concentrate on fighting for the best route alignment for Brickhill. It goes on. I'm not going to go any further with that, but that's appalling. There was an agreement that the parish council would not support Route E, that it would oppose it, but here we have a couple of the parish councillors from the Lib Dems, and let's be honest now, this is completely party political, and it's led Dave's little project to go through. Not only that, they had their own little survey on there, which, as far as I'm concerned, was almost trying to not done down, but to silence the survey that was sent out from your good selves on the parish council. Now, unfortunately, none of them are here to answer some of the questions I've got, and I've got a few actually, because also in there they have an attached document called their fact sheets. Just some of the quotes, you know, decision why it was made. And to be honest, there's just some damn outright lies in their facts. There's a piece about Wixham Station, which they claim would have been killed off if East West Railway didn't go through the north. However, I just need to find the quote, but there is a quote from East West Railway saying that's not the case. You've also got the mayor having a little spat with CPRE, saying that it's CPRE Bedfordshire, not CPRE North Bedfordshire. Suggested that CPRE Bedfordshire only seems to be interested in the area north of Bedford and seems to show little identification with the villages and countryside south of the town. Unlike the parish councillors and local councillors we have here, who appear to be parish councillors and councillors for RSPB Sandy and Wixham's. They are not looking after their area, so I think they should revisit what the mayor has said, and maybe they should be concentrating on the areas they look after. There's also talk as well within the document they've sent out about how many people came back and responded to the previous 6 weeks consultation. You know, they're publicising it was great feedback, 7,000 people. In 2019, the population of Bedford was just over 173,000. So my maths, which isn't great, I'll admit that at times, but it is better than certain people's grammar and spelling, shows that it's that's 4% of the population of Bedford. I'm not exactly sure that's what you'd call an overwhelming support, especially when you think of Brickhill, where in 2011 the census showed that the population was 8,153, and that was excluding Woodlands Park at that point in time. So again, they are just spreading misinformation and downright lies at times. There are some other choice pieces they've put in here. They've also quoted various local newspapers. They've quoted the what was it called? The Bedford Borough Local Plan for 2030. One of the headings being regarding the Bedford Borough Health and Wellbeing Strategy for 2018 to 2023. Outlines the council's top priorities for improving the health and well-being of all people living in the borough. Again, not sure how ramming a railway line through is going to help. There's the Bedfordshire Natural Environment. Again, how's that going to work with a railway line being thrown through? And in fact, in the document itself, under section 12.31, it starts with the East West Rail Scheme involves a new strategic railway link connecting East Anglia to Oxford, blah. It then talks about the fact that Network Rail has determined that the route will be via Sandy with a preferred route to be announced during 2018. So where we've got the council saying, oh, it's always been this way. You know, there's talk about promoting various bits and pieces, and also what I did find, because I've been through a lot of the paper, lots of the documentation that's available East West Rail as well, is that the electrification of the route isn't going to be looked at until at least 2050. Well, and I realise, Mark, you work for Network Rail, but we know how rail projects work. What we need to do is look at the HS2, Crossrail. It's wrong. Well, sorry, I don't think we'll ever see it in my lifetime. Also, as well, in the document as well, there was the comment that on their fact sheet, and I use the term loosely, cross-party consensus on the route via Bedford Station. I have had emails back from Councillor Stephen Moon, who was at the time was the leader of the Conservative group in Bedford Borough Council. And he responded on the 7th of March to me. He said, Councillor Roydon's claim that all parties supported Route E is not true. Conservative group's never taken a single position. And that was pretty much exactly the same as what Sue Collins said from the Labour Party and as leader of the Labour group. And then in the Bedford Independent over the last few weeks, well, I believe it's the last few weeks, is that there has been quite a lot of heated debate with the leader of the Conservative group and the mayor. Here's the comment. Sorry, I found it now. So this was from the Bedford Independent. Bedford's Mayor Dave Hodgson raises concerns while commenting on the consultation of the route, saying a station to the south of Bedford would delay or even threaten the already long-awaited Wixham station altogether. This is a killer. But a spokesman for East West Rail Company said, if one of the three routes with a station to the south of Bedford is chosen as the preferred route and Wixham station goes ahead, there'll be a strong case for EWR using the new station. If Wixham's does not go ahead, we will create a new station somewhere else in the broad area to the south of Bedford. So again, we have had downright lies being told about, unless EWR went to the north, it would kill off the Wixham's train station. And that is the spat, I think is the best way of describing it, between Councillor Coombs and the mayor regarding the mayor's scare tactics. And I think, well, how does he describe the mayor? He's a charlatan, a fraud, disingenuous, dishonest, and being
Sorry, Glenn, can I just interrupt? Sorry to interrupt you. You're covering a lot of points which various other people have made previously, and obviously you're specifically referring to people who are not in the room tonight.
No, I realise that,
referring to the mayor.
I just wanted to share the highlights, but I will send a copy of this in. But what I am appalled about is that those councillors in particular, one, having a fact sheet up which is anything but facts, and also running their own survey, polar opposites to the parish council survey. Now, to be honest, I think that's extremely poor. And as I've said before, they need to put themselves up for re-election. They talk about King Canute. In this instance, I think the mayor's King Canute, trying to hold back the wishes of the constituents in this area.
Right, thank you, Glenn.
But yes, no, and I would like answers on all of this and the facts that are being thrown out there by certain councillors.
Yeah. So just be very clear, if individuals can do what they like, from my perspective, the parish council reaches corporate decisions, collective decisions, which become, the parish council's decision type of thing. Individuals can continue to think whatever they like. We can't control that. All we can do is to make decisions here in our corporate body.
So
okay?
Are you not offended or, slightly unhappy with the fact that they've turned around and said, Brickhill Parish Council has inexplicitly opted to support the northern villages? That's their words from their website.
It is their words. And it's for them to, it's not for me to defend that choice. They've chosen it. And,
I asked the question, do you not feel offended, upset, slightly miffed about what they're writing there? These are your colleagues from the Libertarian Party.
Now, Glenn, don't worry about my sensibilities on this matter at all.
No, it's an honest question.
Yeah.
So you're happy for your colleagues to be attacking the decision made by this parish council?
That's a decision for them. I cannot. As I'm declaring interest on this matter, I'm not involved in any controversial things that may be being put out by anybody. Okay. So it's for them to decide what they want to put out, not for me.
Fine. Well, my opinion is it's appalling what they have done.
Right.
Rather than taking the majority of the councillors of what they said in this parish, they've decided not to do that and put out a incorrect fact sheet as well.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, we need to move on. It's 7:48. Okay. So I've heard what you said. It's for individuals to reply. If you want them to reply to you directly, it's for them to do so. Okay. So I need to move on, please. And I'm going to move on to item 5, East West Rail, to agree a response by the Parish Council to the latest East West Rail consultation. Had a meeting on Thursday. We've agreed a draft letter to be submitted to East West Rail on behalf of the Parish Council. And that has been circulated to the council to a part of that meeting last Thursday. And I want to formally move it now. It's a version that, the last version is the one that Paula circulated to the councillors.
Does that include the change that Paula changed?
I think it does, Paula, doesn't it?
Because I think it still has the
phrase in there. Yeah, it didn't have the one that I added. It had the more that I added, but not the other bit, didn't it?
So I think there's, if we get to a point where we've got those 2 changes in there as well, then that's okay. But the Paula version did not have my change in it because I didn't update the document. I just put it in.
No, nor did I.
Well, let's have to make life easy for Sue. Got to make
my version up, and then maybe if you can remember what your additions were, Lancer,
Yeah.
I could change it at that time.
It's dead easy, yeah.
I caught, I think it was Michael, you said more or something.
Yeah.
I checked that, but I don't think I got your name, Lancer.
Yeah, because I can.
How do you want to do that then? Do you want to edit the document now that was sent through? My laptop's just rebooting itself here,
Right,
so.
okay. I'm just going to pop this in just.
So I think I sent mine about, I don't know, was it about 5:30, 6 yesterday?
Yeah.
Can we park that while we just come back to the other, come back to it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to item 6, financial matters, and to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I'm recommending that we approve bank reconciliations and the accounts for payment, which has been circulated. We're happy with that. Proposing that we allow the council to process payroll, PAY, pension contributions on the 27th of each month, as we recommend on the 7th of June. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
That we approve the report from the internal auditor. Thank you. And that we approve the annual governance statement for 2021. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's item 6 done. Oh, sorry, the last one, the accounting statement for 2021. We again approve those statements.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you very much. I'm also going to move on to the item 7, to the federal freight strategy document, and we have some recommendations which we informally agreed on Thursday, and Alistair has very kindly agreed to take the lead on these items. So we're going to follow up with Crickmore regarding the positive signing of HGVs exiting Lantern Lane. We're going to engage with the process of the updating of freight strategy documents as and when they do that, and propose nighttime ban on HGV movements through Brickhill, because it's not currently a problem, but it may be in the future. And also, we're trying to obtain information from the freight monitoring system, Appendix A Action 3.1 for relevance to Brickhill. Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We clearly had no reports from any of the borough councillors, so we just bypass that with them. And then we had an item about that, item 9 about recording transmission of council meetings, and Michael John Webb, I think, has reached out to Chris Bales, but you're still waiting. You've still got the problem of not being able to connect the access to the YouTube channel. Is that correct? Is that the right way of describing it?
I'm not sure. He was going to contact Sue. I don't know whether he did or not.
Okay.
No. Mark, can you ask people in the room to mute themselves, because it's really hard to hear what anybody's saying. So unless you're speaking, mute and unmute.
I think the trick is to both mute and also, mute your microphone, and maybe tone down the speaker if you can, as much as you can. I know it's tricky. Sorry about this, everyone. So we're going to continue to try and record and transmit our meetings in the future. We're just going to work out the best way of doing it. I think it's the basic point, isn't it? So we'll have a better decision later when we've got some more positive ways forward.
Yeah, just say he's going to contact Sue if he hasn't, and I'm guessing he will at some stage.
And moving on to item 10, Alistair, you're still busy, are you?
Yeah.
Right, okay. It's about planting, which we noted that all the flowers grew around the signs, which is great, and but we may look for further planting in the future if we have any locations suggested by the public or councillors. We can try and do it at the right time of the year. Item 11, correspondence. That was all circulated to all the councillors. And just to reiterate the point I would make back to Glenn earlier, essentially individual councillors can vote whichever way they want. We have no, you can't stop people from doing that. It's entirely up to them. That's democratic. That's their democratic right to do so. And if people have got questions about individual councillors, they need to talk to them directly. And certainly if they have questions about anyone who's not a parish councillor, they need to talk to that person or that organisation directly as well. And we talked about the process for co-option, and we've essentially recommended that in future, if we have any co-options we need to fill, that the date advertised on the signs would be the date of the meeting. And that's unless and until we change our standing orders. And Sue has advised that she thinks we may not be able to do that, but that's essentially just makes it very clear. The date of the meeting would be the point when we would have to close off applications. And then the list of outstanding matters, Mosbury Walk play area. So Sue reported that the 3 new pieces of equipment have been installed, along with some new surfacing and 2 new signs. And Alistair has kindly offered to write some words for inclusion on the parish website, social media. We have had a couple of complaints about the surfacing, and we said hopefully we'll go around and have a look at it after this meeting tonight. About a bit of a trip hazard is the point I think that's been made by a resident.
Well,
So
I think the problem is that I went today to have a look. Yeah, I mean, there are, in an ideal world, we'd have done all the surfacing, but as I sent out in an email, it will probably cost another £30,000 to do that. So that's to redo the surfacing under the multi-climbing frame and to redo the surface under the children's springers. So we spent the 30,000 we had, as we have done, new gate and whatever. The report, the annual report that's done by Roster, that came back in March, did not flag up any, it was all low risk, all the surfacing was low risk. And certainly in relation to around the edge where there are nettles and things, yes, I think they've not cut the grass. So I have gone back to them and asked them to cut it at the borough, because it's only recently really all that Harris fencing came down. So I suspect they went to look and couldn't do it. So I've asked them to do that. So hopefully that will be tidied up. But yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, we'd redo the whole of the surfacing, but we haven't at the moment got another 30,000 to do it. Okay. That's it. Sorry.
thank you, Sue. Other correspondence, the matters were listed in our meeting last week, and a few actions against myself, also against the clerk as well, from 3 other items. And I think we want to go back now to the EWR thing, if you're ready to do so, Alistair. Oh my God. Right, okay. In that case, you may have to. Sue, could you let me back in on my laptop screen? Right, I can probably do it in a moment if I okay. Hopefully this will work. That's another. Okay. My event video is now working. Wonderful. I'm just going to try and find the email that Paul has sent. That's probably the best one to start from. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And just to reiterate, the basic approach we were taking in our meeting last week was to our letter is based upon the comments received back from residents.
You want my change, Mark?
I'm just opening it up now, so just. My laptop is a bit ancient, so it takes time for things to open. I think that was the only other items. I think we've dealt with everything else on the agenda as far as I'm aware, Sue. Apart from date of next meeting. Can I just say, I mean, quite clearly, if we are going to have any further hybrid meetings, this sort of challenge of how do we deal with, you know, interference, whatever we want to call it. Well, even in a bigger room, you can have a problem. And if, yeah, headphones, mini mics, and stuff like that. Yeah. I think it's one of those cases that you're either better off either everyone remote or everyone in a room, and that's it. And halfway in between is quite tricky. It's opening up now, just about. It's just Word is just launching itself gradually. Okay, so okay, yeah. In case this is in case anybody's still attending the meeting, watching the meeting, just to be clear, we're just tweaking. As I mentioned in our meeting on Thursday, we reached a basic conclusion about the tone and content of the letter. After that meeting, we then had a number of emails circulated between the councillors who were present at the meeting. And we're just doing the final fine touches to that letter before it's then officially submitted by Sue, our clerk, on behalf of the parish council to East Rail. What I would urge, though, is if anyone who has not yet submitted their own individual response, they should do so. Because, and just to reiterate the point, we don't actually know how much weight they pay to parish council responses compared to you know, the general public. So your version is not for editing, but I think I can open it up for just create a new version. Right. So
Is it worth putting the letter on the screen? We've got some people on the chat saying, can they see the letter?
okay.
I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I can do that. Oh, it's been disabled. I can't share, so if you want to allow me to share, I can happily share my screen.
Yeah, let me find you, Mark. Sorry, where are you? Make your co-host again. There you go.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're ready to.
Okay, paragraph which alignment, which alignment.
So hang on, I seem to have two versions of the document open, which is a bit weird. Sorry. So, I'm trying to share it. Did it take?
I can't see. It's not shown on the screen.
Okay, one moment. One moment, caller. Right, okay. It may not be the right version. I've got to get into the one that's actually open for editing. This version here. Right. Alistair.
Paragraph 3, one that's titled Which Alignment.
Yeah.
Sentence 1, second line, there's most beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
In there. I think my suggestion was at least less damaging to less damaging.
Yeah. Least damaging.
Okay. Anything else, Alistair? Oops, sorry.
No, I've got one more in there.
Did I change it? Your more?
Oh yeah, more is
Yeah. Anything else? Alistair?
I was happy with that. No, I was happy with the original draft.
Okay, we've got everything you were suggesting. Which way around? You put your comments in. Paul,
Yeah, Paul is one of Michael's comments.
you've got your covered.
Yeah.
So I just felt that the draft that Sue did for us very kindly dealt with during construction, but not after. So that's why I added an extra bit. And also Hawke Drive concern that we raised, I put the idea that it kind of went between two schools, not just the one.
Yeah. No, it's totally correct. Okay, I've now incorporated all the changes.
My feeling on the appendix was so that East West Rail knew what parishioners felt. I did take out the row that we discussed on Thursday. That's removed. But there are other named individuals in there. I don't know whether you want those rows removed.
Please talk, it's Catherine. Sorry.
What's your view on that, Alistair?
My own feeling, to be honest, is to not include it. I think the one page which covers the facts as we see them and the opinions of the residents is enough. I think if we publish the appendix, we should probably do it on the website, maybe in line with where we were thinking of doing it. I just think it confuses things, and you're going to end up with at least 30 pages. I mean. So in intelligence, we consulted the residents, obviously. However, I think we've already described the issues in the letter.
That was why I kind of made it an appendix, so it wasn't in the main body of the letter.
Well, to be honest, I read through the comments and obviously I picked up on that particular one that I was concerned about. The others, I know other people are named, and I haven't looked at it, and that's specifically acceptable or not. So
I felt it showed the strength of feeling times 300 comments. So I felt it added value and not.
Right. I removed all the highlighting that was in there. And then, so did you put all the comments from all three of the questions had comments?
Just question 7.
Which one was that one? Exactly.
The comment box one.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
Indicating why people chose.
Correct.
The questions, right? Okay. Yeah.
You know, the pattern is repeated. Comments about not wanting it on Route E, and the felt, not consulted.
Yeah.
I think that comes through quite clearly, along with some very personal stories of how it's affecting individuals, from health perspectives and
right.
on the such.
Yeah. And it's not for us to deny people the right to express their own opinions, providing it's done in a non-libelous way, I think is a short answer.
Yeah, I think. I think provided anything libelous and anything like that, I can't see the whole.
Right. Okay.
We've got somebody on the chat that's asking, will the letter be put on Brickhill's website for residents to comment on? I think given it's the 7th, I don't think there's time for that. The survey is the time to comment, I feel.
That's what I was worried about. We've got to get this done like today and tomorrow. And I appreciate this context thing, right? But for me, on my plans, I said don't put that in. We've got a lot of time to go through the legal to what's in there or anything else. But I would just say do the letter, get it done, get it sent. The consultation closes in time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, got to encourage everybody to treat their own feedback as well.
I'm happy to take out any of the comments with named people in. If that's wished, that's fairly easy. Find and replace and delete that. But then are we accused then of biasing? Correct.
It's kind of like you can't win with these things sometimes. Somebody will then say, "Oh, you've done in that case, you've ones that you didn't like or didn't."
Just go with it all. I don't know. What do you think, Siddharth?
I think leave comments.
Yeah. Leave them on.
I'm concerned about the legal aspects of that. I am, because since that last, we don't, I don't want to leave it exposed to legal costs.
Okay, well, we need to reach a decision on this one. Conclusion. I should agree we should not be extending any further discussion on it after tonight. Yeah, so make a decision now, and that's it. Whatever the decision is.
If, just as a question, if the individuals that are named are, I don't know, XXX instead of the actual person, so the comment is kept, then we've not censored the comment, but we have removed the names. Would that be a suitable compromise?
My own views don't include them, and I think I don't see the value. I mean, you see the value, I don't see the value. But if you're going to say that we want the letter done today, the letter I think is finished. But we all agree with the letter. We now are only arguing about whether the appendix is. I vote for no appendix. I think it just distracts. We've summarised the views of the residents in the letter and spent good time getting the wording right on that. East West Rail will not read the appendix. They don't care.
Are they going to read the letter? Will they read the letter? No.
We have no idea. We hope so, but we can't guarantee it.
And the other aspect you also got is in the survey, we didn't actually say the comments would be submitted to the accounts. I don't know whether that stands for anything. I know their names in there.
And actually, we didn't say that last Thursday either. We didn't talk about that possibility either. In our submission.
It's technically only to us, and pass it on to someone else. I don't know where we stand.
So somebody says on the chat, just you might not see that the appendix is powerful and should be included. Sorry, I was on mute. So just say that again. That
the appendix is powerful and says what people think.
But they say that in their own submission.
Yeah. All of those comments need to go into people's individual submissions. That's the most important thing. Because this is, don't forget, this is still just one submission. They're only going to count this as one submission. Those 350 people, whoever it is, I really hope they've all put their own stuff in. They're absolutely essential that they've done that.
So
It's a difficult one. I'm kind of in the middle.
Are we legally allowed to use the names? Is the thing we need to ask.
well, it's
There
just,
isn't names from the people that have written it, is there? It's just that they state names. And as I said, I'm happy to go through that and delete those names out, but just leave the comment.
some of the names, it's pretty obvious who they're
Well,
yeah, who would be referring to. That's so. Yeah. You're not going to, in a sense, no matter what you put in there, it'll be obvious who the individuals are.
so we've got, you asked for comments, so you should include it. You include it as an appendix. Views were asked. If you don't pass them on, what's the point?
Well, we have, hold on a minute, I'm not having that one, because that's not right, right?
Well, just saying what
I
was said.
know, but okay, the view, we gathered the views, we
Yeah.
condensed those in the letter, we've absolutely done what people said, right? That
Yeah.
is the letter. So, you know, to say that we're ignoring people's views, that's totally wrong. You know.
And a lot of the comments are also about the parish council, not about informal.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
in one sense, a lot of comments are actually relevant to
Yeah, and I think we have used, when we looked at the comments, when we looked at the answers given to the questionnaire, you know, we did take into consideration the comments made in the letter. I don't think we're ignoring the comments in terms of our submission.
The whole point of doing the survey is to get the comments, then understand what people felt,
Yeah.
and then summarise that in the letter, which we have done, and taken a great deal of time over it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't understand how people suddenly say that their comments are being ignored. You know, I'm getting a bit exercised about that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Because particularly this year, we're the ones that have been actually listening to people, so I'd like to see.
I personally would like to leave the appendix, but I'm happy to edit, as I said, to get rid of named people. That seems to me to be a compromise.
yeah, I'm more thankful to give it, but I could go with a compromise. Otherwise, we'll end up with two each.
Yeah. I mean, to be very clear, when I see words along the lines of being lied to, you know, that is getting into dangerous territory again. So, you know, in some of the comments.
Well, I think the gentleman at the start of the meeting made it quite clear how he felt about being lied to, and those were his words, that's his feeling.
But it's publishing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the publishing that's the problem. If we publish something, then we can be liable to the parish council, which can expose the parish council
That is the problem.
to potentially legal action. You know, and, you know, when you say, "Oh, that might not happen," yeah, but it might. You know, I just don't think it's worth that. I really don't think it adds to the letter, and I think it potentially exposes the parish to legal bodies.
Yeah.
And there's also the question about what we told people we would use that information for, whether they would, you know, whether they'd be prepared to contribute to what we contributed if they thought that was then going to be published, as opposed to being used within the council.
Yeah, we did say we kept confidential. I think we said we kept confidential. So it doesn't, it would help us come up with our response to the consultation. I think that's what we said.
I think we did. There's definitely some words in there, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm veering more towards suggesting they shouldn't be published just from a safety perspective.
What about a flavour of the comments that doesn't use ones with names or inflammatory language like lies? If that's, I don't know. I just think we've got 333 statements of people's feelings, and I think the parish is quite upset that they've not really been listened to. But at the same time, I take on board your point, Alistair. I don't think we need to be putting ourselves in a vulnerable legal position either.
Right.
Do we have somebody legal that could advise? I don't know.
We've got a day to do it.
Well, I know that.
That's the bottom line.
I know that.
Yeah. The simple thing is to not include it. That's a simple thing. Yeah, I understand people's, people have got many people have got strong views. I totally understand the point as well. And that's where I come back to my argument about people need to express their own views. To EWR as part of their response. But I do think we've got to, I think we've tried to use people's comments appropriately within our letter. We've obviously focused on the bits which they were most concerned about. We've also we talked about the general point about the feelings about the route. So I don't think we're ignoring points that people are making in general terms, because obviously we've got a whole variety of points being made with sort of split 90-10%, 90%, 10% split, or 80-20% split, that type of thing. But we've tried to come up with a balanced response from my analysis of it.
Somebody suggested that the appendix is made from people's comments, not from the Brickhill Parish Council. And the fact that it is an appendix as opposed to embodied within is separate, isn't it?
If we publish it, we've published it. It's still us publishing it. So, we need to reach a decision. Still thinking.
Yeah. There's like this in there, but the legalities of it, self-fulfilling. And if you take out all the names out and all the references out to people that are obvious, then what does it leave?
I think it will boil down to the points which we've actually made in the letter, fundamentally, about preferences and what they're in favour of, what they're not in favour of. I read through the responses to the 2019 consultation. I think most of the ones I saw published from councils were basically factual, based upon particular points they were highlighting, which is, I think, in our letter is in line with that. So I didn't see people publishing individual comments from residents as part of their submissions.
I shared overviews from St Neots, and that was from St Neots Mayor as opposed to a parish, which I agree didn't have individual comments in. I haven't seen any other parish letters personally. At the end of the day, this parish is one of the most affected by it, not the only, but one of the most. And back in 2019, this parish council was told it was pie in the sky. Wouldn't happen. And here we are.
Indeed. Right. So we've got three options: the parish as it is, we publish it in a slightly redacted version, or we publish it with the letter without the attachment, or the appendix. I think they're the three options.
The comments that are appearing about East West Rail and not basically having to go at either Marrow Council or Borough Council, because they're kind of irrelevant to East West Rail, isn't they? Which is,
Yeah. I'm happy to go through it after this meeting and just tidy it up and send it back to us.
I don't know, are we going to vote on this, Mark?
We are moving to, if we can move towards the, yeah. So
my vote is do not include the appendix, do not redact it, do not use it. We've done the letter is absolutely based on the feedback that we got from residents. It totally represents what the feedback is. That's enough. The consultation, that's enough. Get the letter sent up. Sue kindly send it off. Done.
Job is done. Our job is done.
We might want to look at, doing something else, but for me, just the letter is the letter. That's what we've done. That's what we've agreed.
Yeah. See where you're coming from. Can we eliminate publishing it entirely? Sorry, eliminate publishing it without any changes. Without any of those amendments which you're suggesting.
Yeah.
The idea of publishing it in its raw format. Can we eliminate that one? I'm happy to eliminate that as well.
I don't think we can do that.
I quite like, I hear what your reservations are, and as you said, once I've got back home, I'm happy to open it up, go through each of those comments. And I think, Mick, your point of taking out the ones that are more local based.
Mark's saying, can we eliminate the sending it as it is? Do you agree with that?
I don't understand what you mean.
The unredacted pure comments.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I don't. I'm happy to take your guidance on that.
We don't take that option. That option out of the way.
Okay, that's good. So we're then down to two. We're down to either don't attach the attachment without the appendix, or go through it, weed it out, ones that are, if you like, not directly relevant to East West Rail. I.e., if you just having a go individuals, doesn't actually affect the choice of decision.
I think
Is that the way to look at it? Sorry, can you say that again?
I said I'm happy to go for that. I don't want any of these alignments in Route E. I don't want Route E. That's it. I think is okay. Whereas some of the other ones are.
Okay, let's try and do. I think that's better, safer. Arguably, yeah. I think it's safer.
Yeah,
Sudesh, are you? Do you have? So I think we've got a 3-1. I'm sort of expressing opinion. I'm sort of not expressing opinion. But no, I do generally think that's safer than doing.
Could we put at the top of the appendix, these are comments taken from our residents verbatim, so that they represent what the people have said, and then do what Mick suggested with regard to taking out some of those comments that are.
Providing you remove those, I don't mind, the label, how you label at the top is still, I think that's okay. Each box represents a response for a Brickhill resident, and that's still true. We were just suggesting that we pointing out that we to keep the ones that are particularly relevant for the consultation and remove the ones that are not relevant, shall we say, or dangerous. If we did that, then that would probably reduce it from 11 pages down to 5 or 6. I'm not sure. Yeah, might. Yeah, but we're not going to. I don't think we can chop and change individual comments you know, we're not going to go through and reword them all individually, are we? Because it's too much there
No,
to
I
do.
don't want to reword what people have said because that's their views.
Exactly. So I would be fairly brutal on it. I would just say, is it okay? Is it not okay? That's what I think that's what I'd recommend. Because again, with 300 plus comments to go through, you're going to take time to do it anyway. So, all right.
Are we doing that as a group or
No.
Are you doing that?
No, I said I'd do
Paula
that.
very kindly volunteered to go through.
Send it back to you all.
Right.
And then that's ready for Sue tomorrow.
Indeed. Any problems, do shout this evening, Paula.
Yeah.
Anytime. Right. Okay. Everyone happy with that? Do you want to take a formal vote on that one, Alistair?
No, we need to take a full vote.
Right. No? Okay, happy. Right. So we'll go with the flow. We'll weed out the ones which are inappropriate. Paula will do that this evening, circulate around the councillors who are here tonight. And that goes back to Sue for submission tomorrow.
Can I just answer a question on the chat?
To be honest,
or not?
I don't think we should.
Okay.
I would typically not. It's a bit like having people in the back of the room in our main meetings. From my point of view, when we get into the bulk of our meetings, I think it's for the councillors to crack on and do their job, you know? So it's not that I'm trying to ignore people, but we're here to try and, you know, to do the work, aren't we? So try not to get too disrupted by that. Is that okay, Paula?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Right, Sue, are you okay? Have you heard what's been said?
Yes.
Sue, can you speak? Sorry. Come on mute again.
Mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What I would say, playing devil's advocate here, is I think East West Rail will not read comments by individuals. And the reason I think they won't in our letter is because everybody is open to send in their response. So I think they'll think that they're effectively doubling up on those comments, that somewhere along the line, those will have already been sent in already. I'm guessing that's what they may look at. But they may not, and, you know, maybe do put them in.
Yes.
But I think that's what will happen in my view.
No, I understand that, Sue, but that's the point Alistair was making. But broadly, you've heard what has been said here, that the councillors want to send in the letter.
Yeah.
You've amended it now. I'm going to email that through to Paula. She will then go through the appendix, and remove the comments which she believes are inappropriate for submission, and then circulate that around the group, and then for you to receive tomorrow and submit on behalf of the parish council.
Yep, that's fine. Yep. Okay.
Great stuff. Thank you. Right. I think we've now dealt with all the matters on the agenda. Last item is the date of the next meeting, which is due to be the 1st of July. And we need to have a decision about how we're going to do that meeting. Are we going to do it like we try to do this one? Or are we going to do it, which is difficult? Or are we going to do it completely all face to face? Or are we going to cancel the meeting and just get back together in September? Or something else? So I think we need to ask all the councillors their views on that one, not just people here tonight. And see how things go as well. The good news is obviously more people are going to be offered vaccinations, younger people, and hopefully, you know, things will get. Well, you know, no. But generally, you know, at the moment, if at the moment, for instance, if you have a young person, we've had young people come to the council meetings before, you know,
We have.
and at the moment they will not be vaccinated. So what does that mean? Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've got to close the meeting now. Just want to say to everybody who's online here, thank you for attending this evening. Bit of a strange meeting. We shall see how it goes for the next time, but we are still keen to ensure that the public can observe and hopefully can participate in the parish council meetings going forward. And Sue, thank you very much indeed for your help remotely. No, there's no tea or biscuits here tonight. It's really disappointing. Anyway, so thanks everyone. Take care and see you next time.